Hello, this is Maria Mar, artist, poet, and citizen. Today I want to show you all the postcards that I've been receiving in the last days from Adriano Espaillat. All right. So it looks like an invitation for a scary movie. It's like corrupt. Um, you know, they're not telling you the truth, whatever. Thing is, I've never received anything from him before. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. No, it isn't. An attack on corrupt politicians is not an attack on all of us, right? um, but I, the one that really got me is when he sent me a poster. And you know that he's the incumbent for the midterm elections 2026 for New York 13, which is where I live, right? So he sent me a poster where he accused progressive candidate Darializa Avila, you can see her here, of having, quote unquote, having been accepting campaign cash from firms whose technology has been used to monitor protesters. And no name of what particular source or evidence was submitted. And in all of those postcards, he also sent me an accusation that that she was pocketing money linked to a controversial AI surveillance firm that police have used to spy on Black Lives Matter. Again, no name or firm or evidence submitted. Right. He has accused her of also pocketing money from a luxury real estate developer that helps the ultra-rich make millions at the expense of working class neighbors, and from a company whose technology illegally helps ICE hunt immigrants. Again, no names or evidence, just these scary words that some, if after all the lies that we've been told, we kind of recognize this kind of language that is meant to scare us. Okay. Since Darializa has spent her whole career fighting ICE abuses and police brutality, and she runs on taking big money out of politics. Remember that. Abolishing ICE, ending the genocide in Gaza, and lowering costs for working people in Upper Manhattan, where I live, right, in El Barrio. I live in El Barrio. And in Bronx, I was concerned. I was concerned about these allegations, right? Because I have studied her bio. I have investigated her work, and she is a community organizer. So what's going on here, right? Since I know that corporate super PACs are spending millions and millions of dollars in false negative campaigns meant to discredit progressive Democratic candidates who have pledged to end big money in politics. Listen to it. Hear that phrase. It's going to be repeated a long time here. I place both names, both candidates, the incumbent Adriano and Darializa. I place both names in the website of Integrity Index, an anti-corruption project that allows us to track down the money behind leaders. All right. So that's what I did. I followed the money. Let's see what the evidence says. The Integrity Index, the index and its mission. All right. American politics, this is from their website. American politics has been consumed by legalized corruption. Every year, millions of dollars flow freely from companies, lobbyists, and billionaires, donors directly to politicians' pockets. It's a free for all. Integrity Index is a grassroots political media apparatus to hold politicians accountable to the people instead of their pockets. love that. Absolutely love it. The people instead of their pockets. Because, these billionaires don't give politicians money out of the goodness of their heart, right? They're going to collect. And they collect in the elections, and they collect with all those tax cuts that are going up, and they collect when they gauge the prices of the products, and we end up paying, and the cost of life rises like through the roof, right? That's how they collect. And they've been collecting at the rate of trillions with a T. Trillions with a T. Trillions of dollars in the past decades. Trillions of dollars that trickle up, not down, up. While we are getting to the point that we can't buy our groceries, right? And look at what's happening with our democracy. So this racket has become so bad that Integrity Index had to create this particular website where they give you a report card of each of the candidates. So let's see what they say. This is Darializa Chevalier report card in index, in the Integrity Index. Hello. 93.42. She got an A. Okay. No corporate PAC money. Signed pledge. She signed the pledge and she has no corporate PAC money. Zero corporate money. That's the truth. See what I'm saying? Always follow the money. So let's see what else. Okay, here they're measuring an individual breakdown to see how large or small her contributions. Because when you receive a lot of money from billionaires and from rich people, it may not show up in a PAC, but it shows up as a lot of large contributions. So they have it here like clothing: small, medium, large, extra large, and extra, extra large. And 57% of her contributions come from small contributions from us, from we the people. And then I look at her PAC, and what she has here is PACs that give to politicians, to candidates. For example, Justice Democrats, Peace, Accountability, and Leadership PAC, New York City DSA Federal PAC. Sometimes it's a matching money, right? So it's all pretty forward. There's no corporate money. There's not lobbyists. All right, pretty forward. Clean and simple. No corporate PACs, no lobbying PACs, no private equity, no APAC. Only 3 PACs that fund progressive Democrats. No wonder her Integrity Index is A. I also want to check her in Open Secrets, right? Because that's another place that you can follow the money to see where it goes. And they have organizations and they have industries. In organizations, it is like Alphabet Inc. This is Vinson and Elkins. I think they're lawyers. New York City Department of Education, Peace, Accountability, and stuff like that. And in industries, democratic liberals, school and colleges, corporate lawyers, and law firms, search engine, email services, investors. They don't break it down further than that I know. But it's pretty clean and pretty straightforward. Okay, are you ready? So let's see now, what is the record of Espaillat? C minus. Why is it getting a C minus? 71.12. That's the score. He says that he doesn't get corporate money or no corporate money PAC. This is the PAC that you have to do with them, the pledge. But he accepted 78,000 from corporate PACs in this cycle. 78,000 from corporate PACs. And in the breakdown, they're giving me a geographic breakdown that says that 43%, that's like a flag, They're going to show you anything that has a flag or interest. And they're showing me that 43% are out of states. In other words, he received 57 percent contributions that are from legitimate from New York, and then 43 out of state. And that's a flag, because why are people who are not impacted? They're not his constituents. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so now let's check corporate PACs. Look at this, my people. Look at this. All right. It's a whole big list. It doesn't end. And look at the first ones, Amazon and Google. Like that's oligarchy in action. Right? What else do we have? Okay, lobbying PACs. And okay. And there's a whole list of the corporations that are and other PACs that are lobbying the politicians constantly. Okay. So that's what we have. And then the one that really upset me even more was AIPAC. He receives money from AIPAC at the tune of $145,178. And for those of you who don't know what these initials mean, AIPAC, it stands for the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. It's a major tax-exempt U.S. political organization that lobbies the federal government for strong ties, military aid, and diplomatic support between the United States and Israel. And they have an extreme right-wing agenda. According to those who follow the money, AIPAC is the hidden force behind the consistent refusal of the corporate Democrats, as well as the Republicans, to address Gaza's genocide, and the reticence to set limits, to penalize or stop arms sales to Israel in order to move away from our complicity in this genocide. And I don't know if you heard, that there's been a whole scandal, whole conflict about this, precisely this last week, I think, because they wanted to remove the condition of respecting human rights. They wanted to remove it from Israel, only from Israel, in order to keep giving them money, even if they violate the human rights, which is a condition that we have created as a nation in order not to support people who are breaking countries who are breaking the human rights, for Israel only. And that's what's keeping us, setting them arms while they're destroying a whole country, a whole people. And you've seen what happens there. It's just inadmissible by any account. And what does AIPAC have to do with him? I don't understand, right? Okay. But then when I look at Open Secrets, pro-Israel money, he's receiving more pro-Israel money. And he's receiving private equity money too. So American Israel Public Affairs, even more money from Israel organizations that are lobbying and that are putting pressure in our politicians to stay complicit with what Israel is doing at this moment. I would say more Netanyahu, right? What they're doing. Because it's always not the people, it's always the governments who do these things. All right. So that's the truth behind all of it. That's the truth. So Espaillat receives corporate PAC money, receives AIPAC money, receives lobbying PACs, receives pro-Israel money, receives private equity money. Private equity is what's buying all these buildings that then we cannot afford the rents. right? That's what a private equity is doing and other things. So of course, his integrity index is going to be like C minus. I think it's generous, right? So when somebody starts attacking another person in that kind of like vicious way, and you know the person, and the person is fighting for us and working for us, don't allow the lies to do what happened to us already, which is we allowed lies to make us vote against our own interests. That's what worries me with this. Okay? That's why I'm doing this. The pro-democracy movement that gathers dozens of grassroots organizations like Indivisible and 5051 and many others, hundreds of community organizations. It's the movement that has organized the No Kings protests. Though that movement with a lot of other people have been working very hard to endorse new leaders like Darializa with one goal in mind, taking big money out of politics. Because if you look at it, big money in politics is the cause of all these penuries that we're having, because, it's everything is going up and then, there's nothing for us left. There's nothing, you know what I'm saying? The cost is going up and our salaries don't go up. And these people are eating, they're like vampires, eating all of our tax, everything, and we're losing our programs. It's all that. So we deal with that. We deal with a lot. We fix a lot of the problems that we're suffering. So why is the whole pro-democracy movement working with this new fighting progressive Democrats to defeat the fascist oligarchy that has taken over our governance and funds this regime? And this regime is doing a fascist coup. This is not just a bad administration. This is a fascist coup. That is why the new fighting leaders who are progressive Democrats or independents are a danger to the billionaires. And that's when you see that. Look at what Darializa said to me. It's beautiful, a new dawn for New York City, clean and beautiful and direct. No harm, no toxic poisons, no accusations. You know what I'm saying? This is a politician just telling me what she's for and trusting my intelligence. And then you see all of these awful, ugly things, accusing people without names, without anything that can be taken to court. You know what I'm saying? Just like vicious words to scare us. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us? No. An attack on corrupt politicians is not an attack on us. Quite the opposite, right? So what we want to do is get rid of the corruption that is in the government. Ooh, don't get me going with that. So when you see an incumbent leader attacking new progressive leaders, ask yourself, what have they done for us? Because with all of these things that Adriano sends me, all of these things, he has never even sent me a newsletter in all the years that he has been in power. What has he done for us? What? I'm still waiting. I've even gone to the Congress side to check his bills that he's passing. None. No bills. We have been forgotten and neglected and defunded and gentrified, right? What has he done for us? And then ask yourself, who is funding them? Because you saw there the truth very clear. And what is their integrity index? With this new tool, you can check directly. And Darializa has a name, and you saw why. And he has a C minus, and you saw why. We need to be ultra vigilant with the midterms so that the billionaires don't confuse us into one again, voting against our own interest. That's what I want for us. The truth. Voting is one of our most potent people power strategies. During these midterm elections, we can take big money out of politics. So there's the 3 steps that we can take to do this. Number 1, share this message to help our people get clear. Share it with friends, with family, with peers, because the press is not covering anything that benefits the people. The press is already bought and paid for by the billionaires. Right? So they're not helping us. They're not telling us the truth. We have to use another people power, word of mouth. That's the people power. We need to use that people power to tell each other what's going on, what's down. Number 2, make sure to vote in the midterms, and they're already started. Right. So we have early voting is June 13 to 21, I think. Right. It's going already. And number 3, remember to select as many progressive leaders as are running so that they help us defeat the oligarchy. And you know who they are, because they are not accepting money from corporate PACs, from APAC, from AI, from crypto, none of that corruption. Let's vote for them. Let's vote for ourselves and for our recovery from this mess.